Are you ready for a good time? Are you ready for Ronda versus Sasha Banks? Well, you're no getting it because Sasha Banks quit like a little bitch on Monday Night Raw. Welcome back, guys, to Fall Got Wrestling for your Friday Night Smackdown preview. But before we get into any of the shit that's going to happen tonight, let's just quickly cover Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out on Raw, right? All I have seen is people on Twitter like marking out and praising the two of them and saying that they're strong, powerful women, and that they were right and that they all deserve respect and that we need to like bow down to them. And for what? I mean, why? It's so unprofessional. Fuck it, it's their job. They were asked to do something. They chose not to do it and they walked out. Why are they getting praised for that? If you'd done this in your job, you'd either get like an official warning or you would get sacked. So why the fuck are we praising these guys? And I've seen people go, well, Austin done it, Austin. First of all, right, Austin was the biggest star, biggest draw in wrestling history, right? I mean, you could argue Hogan, but let's just, for argument's sake, say Austin, right? So Austin, because Austin's era to Hogan's era is completely different. You know what I mean? Austin from late 90s is different to what Hogan was doing in the 80s, right? But for argument's sake, people bring up Austin, right? First off, like I said, Austin was the biggest star, biggest draw. And Austin had a legit point. I mean, it just did not make sense for Austin to lose a qualifying match to Brock Lesnar with absolutely zero build when that match down the line would have been huge. And they did tease it at one point, it never happened, but that match would have been huge. So I think Austin, right, his point was right, and that the fact he was the biggest guy in the company as well, I believe he's got more bargaining power than someone that holds a job or women's tag team title that doesn't matter. But Austin's even came out and said that he wished he'd handled it differently and that walking out and taking his ball and going home, as Vince McMahon said, was not the right thing to do.
It was The Rock that said it.
Well, The Rock said it, but
Austin can take his ball and go home.
But McMahon buried him on TV as well. And at least no one's come out and actually buried Sasha Banks and Naomi on TV. But, I mean, essentially, like, what were they complaining about? They were putting a six-pack challenge, number one contender match, and they didn't want to do it. I don't see why. They thought they were being disrespected. I don't know what gave them that. I don't know what led to that conclusion, because it's not like they were treated in high regard before that Monday Night Raw started. Yeah, they might be the tag champs, but really, who cares about the tag team belts? Selena Vega and Carmella held them for months, and would you say they were highly regarded? Would you say they were respected?
No.
It just seems strange to me. Like, why not just go
Why all of a sudden? See, as soon as you're put in this tag team division, you're considered a jobber. So see all these people using the logic that, Sasha Banks doesn't need WWE, they need her. They should be lined up against the wall and dealt with. Because see that? I mean, not even Austin in 2002 was bigger than WWE.
I mean, WWE doesn't need anybody. Someone leaves and they'll just create somebody else. It's as simple as that. So WWE certainly don't need Sasha Banks. But I'm not burying Sasha Banks because, out of all the women on the roster, she is one of my favourites. But it is reported that she's apparently got an attitude problem, that she's hard to work with. And, how many times has Sasha Banks, left the WWE and not, been gone for 6 months, then came back and got, a really short push, maybe had, a 2-day title reign, lost and then disappeared? What is it? Is it hard to work with? Is it mental health? I think there's definitely more teeth that meet the eye than Sasha Banks.
I think they should just get rid of her and cut ties and never bring her back.
Because do you not think Sasha Banks, though, it's not due to her ability that she hasn't had runs like Becky Lynch and Charlotte? I think it definitely has to, and people are going to say because it's her skin colour. It's not because of that either.
No.
I think she must be difficult to work with. But anyway, I think they made the wrong decision. Whether they were right or not, they didn't want to work with Doudrop and Nikki Cross. Why? Apart from the fact that Doudrop and Nikki Cross are complete bums, jobbers, and maybe you don't want to be associated in the same match with them, I can understand that. Yes, I can. I totally get that. But fuck me, we're watching a current episode of Raw, and you've got Undertaker, the champion, fucking having a match with Tommy Dreamer, a guy whose gimmick is he eats fucking hair off the fucking floor in barbershops and drinks puke. Come on.
And also, people aren't really going in on Naomi, but she just seems like a shite bag and followed Sasha Banks out the door.
Yeah, that's the thing. I kind of at least respect Sasha Banks for kind of sticking to her guns and standing up for herself and her beliefs. Whereas Naomi just seemed to, well, you know what, I'll just do what my friend's doing. So, anyway, that's that over and done with. But the big news coming out, going into this Friday night, was apparently Sasha Banks was supposed to be the next challenger for Ronda Rousey. They were supposed to face each other at Hell in a Cell. I can't believe that, for the pure fact is, you look at the SmackDown women's roster and it's non-existent. Charlotte taking a couple of months off. And apart from that, who have you got? I mean, they just recently brought Raquel Rodriguez up and they had her lose to Ronda Rousey last week. And albeit the match was good, it was good, but I mean, she's just been brought up and lost already. So it's hard to build her into another match. Why would she deserve another match? Why would you believe she can win another match? And then if you look at the rest of the women, you've got Shayna Baszler. I mean, hasn't been treated seriously in about 2 years. Natalya, she won a couple of matches in NXT 2.0, but is she going to beat Ronda? No. Shia Lee, she turned up, moved her hands like it was a sword. Some lights flashed, and then we haven't seen her in like 3 months. Aliyah, whatever you want to call her, she's just a, she's just a check hire, isn't she, really? I mean, oh, look at this. Middle Eastern female star, oh, we'll take her. And who else has SmackDown got? I mean, who's the other women on SmackDown? Shotzi Blackheart, she's a heel. I guess she could take on Ronda, but I mean, come on. Is that really Women's Championship material? Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi Blackheart?
No, it's really not.
I mean, the whole gimmick was last week, Shotzi Blackheart wanted to take on Ronda, but she got locked in her dressing room, so...
See, that's the problem with Ronda Rousey. It's like, she's almost too big of a star to be taking on people like that.
Yeah, probably Bayley's due back soon, but then it's not like, Bayley's coming back after, like over a year out. It's like, where's the moment? You need time built back, surely.
Ronda should be challenging Bayley for the belt, not the other way about. It's just, does that make sense to you? Makes sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, she can't really challenge her because she's not the champ. But anyway, we'll find out what happens tonight. Sasha Banks and Naomi are reportedly not backstage at the arena. Is that it? Is that them done, do you think?
Yeah.
See, apparently Naomi's liked. And obviously she's married to Jimmy. So, I mean...
How did we get that?
It could be Jay, I mean, fuck, who knows it. I'm going to go with Jimmy. I mean, that could save her, but on the other hand, apparently Sasha Banks isn't liked. I just see looking at Sasha Banks, just the way she looks and the way she tweets and the way she acts, you can just imagine that she's like...
A dickhead.
Yeah. But, but we'll see what happens. Those two not at the...
They don't need her. See these people that think they're bigger than a fucking billion-dollar company? Get them out.
Of course they don't need her. But, I mean, I think you can definitely say that the women's division's stronger with her.
Yeah. I agree. But, I mean, they could just shuffle people about and sort it out.
Yep.
I mean, Sasha Banks leaving's not the end, nowhere near the end of the world.
Yep.
It's embarrassing that people genuinely believe that. Just fucking... Roman Reigns could fucking leave the Mara, man, and wouldn't change anything. So Sasha Banks leaving's not going to change fuck all.
I mean, legit, Austin and Rock pretty much left fucking the same time, and what happened?
And Hogan?
Absolutely nothing. McMahon got on with it. Just created new stars, fuck me.
Albeit not as good, but I mean, they were still great.
Good. They're still alright, you know what I mean? So, what else have we got? We have huge unification title match tonight, RK Bro versus the Usos. It seems strange this match is actually finally going to happen. Raw Tag Team Champions versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Is it actually going to happen though? Are they actually going to unify the belts? Where could they possibly be going here? What's the point of unifying belts if they're not going to be on both shows? Why unify belts when there's a brand split? That's just...
Yeah, like, why not just both belts on the line? You know, not unify them, both belts.
Well, I don't think they're actually unifying them, but I think it's just both belts are on the line.
Well, that makes a bit more sense then. But I'm sick of seeing like one-on-one matches between these two teams. I hope whoever wins, they're done with the other team and that's it.
No rematches. No rematch clause. But yeah, should be a big match or whatever. But, I mean, you look at... The thing that would worry me is there's no world champion on Raw, which is a fucking... That's a show destroyer right there.
You could have Seth Rollins against Cody Rhodes for the belt right now.
Plus, it looks like I would have to assume the Usos will win. So you're going to have Raw, no tag champs, no world champion, and the IC belt is held by Austin Theory. Or is it the US belt?
Yes.
Whatever.
Us.
So what's the two main belts on Raw then? The US belt and the fucking 24/7?
Yeah.
I mean, really? Fucking hell, what's happened to wrestling?
It's Bianca Belair, man. See Belair, Asuka, who cares about that? I know we're on SmackDown, but come on.
What else have we got?
Yeah,
We
man.
have Hell in a Cell. Apparently Roman Reigns isn't defending the title at Hell in a Cell. He has apparently there's nobody credible enough to challenge him, and the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view isn't a big enough pay-per-view for him to defend the belt on. First of all, I'm going to call it bullshit. I mean, back in the day, literally, the belt, it would have been a really rare occasion if a title wasn't on the line in a pay-per-view. Name me pay-per-views where titles weren't on the line. There had to be a really rare. No Way Out, 2006. Or 2007.
2007, you're right. 6 was Angle.
Yeah, 2007, the tag team match. Alright, world title wasn't defended there. Name me, I'm trying to think the other ones off the top of my head. Point is, it was fucking rare. It was really rare.
But at least back in the day, they made it work. The feuds that didn't have it, they were massive. I mean, Batista and Taker against Cena and Michaels, that does itself.
I would rather a jobber match than no match. Do Reigns versus Nakamura, do something. See trying to sell a pay-per-view when the world titles ain't on the line?
And it's not that. They hype up this title reign. Half the time he's not defending it, and when he is, he looks into the win.
Oh, he's a full time. He's Brock Lesnar schedule. Intercontinental Champion Ricochet gave Drew Gulak some inspirational pep talk last week. And then Drew Gulak was quickly humiliated by Gunther. Will we get Gunther versus Gulak tonight? Or will maybe Gunther be coming after Ricochet? Could there potentially be a tag team match between Gulak and Ricochet and Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser? Thoughts on that stuff? The Ring General, Gunther. I mean, I kind of dig that.
I think these two can maybe challenge for the belt.
No, I don't really see them as a tag team, though. I see them more as Gunther singles and this guy managing.
I know, but he jobbed at the Braun Breaker. Like, it's going to take a while to build him up for Reigns.
I know, but they don't count that. I don't think that's like you're leaving NXT if they put somebody over.
Special.
It's not the same programming. Like, I mean, I remember it, but I think the almost
fucking better than this. So I remember.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Madcap Moss last week brutally taken out by Baron Corbin. That looked legit. I mean, it looked like Madcap Moss could be it for months.
Kenny fucking larried him.
So we'll see what happens there. Butch last week defeated Kofi Kingston. Fuck me. I mean, that's when you know Kofi. How can you go from being world champion to being beat by Butch? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn last week. We'll see what happens. Looks like Sami Zayn and Nakamura called him an ass last week. The ass of the table. He says that Roman... I mean, that was pretty funny. Nakamura, if Roman's the head of the table, then let make you the ass. Ha ha. So we'll see what happens there. Like I already covered earlier, Shotzi and Aliyah argued over last week over who was more deserving of a match. Aliyah said that she was locked in her dressing room, whereas Shotzi said she was pushed out the way by Raquel. I mean, even just listening to these excuses sounds pathetic.
Sounds kindergarten.
I mean, imagine Austin. Hey, Bischoff, it was my title match, but she pushed me out the way. Would Austin not get back up and fucking open a can of whip ass on you?
Exactly.
I mean, how pathetic. So
imagine getting pushed out the way for a title shot. Fucking embarrassing. Next.
Right, that's it. No matches announced apart from the big title match, so we'll cover that right now.
Prediction.
Who's your money on? I'm going to say the Bloodline. I mean, it looks like... I guess you could argue that if they capture all the belts, there's not a lot else for them to do, whereas if they lose the belts, maybe Roman will be disappointed. I think there's more story and more potential. But then again, if they lose the belts, it's like... It's almost like if the Bloodline lose tonight, that feud continues. But if RK Bro lose, the feud might be over.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I kind of hope the Bloodline do win. Because I'm sick of seeing RK Bro and Usos competing.
Yeah, I'm all for the Bloodline winning this. I can see Orton and Riddle maybe splitting up. Raw needs singles, guys, but it doesn't even have a fucking belt, so maybe it doesn't.
We need more tag teams, bro.
Going with the Bloodline, guys. I'm
going with the Bloodline too, guys. That's it. That's the SmackDown preview. Let us know what you think down below. We'll catch you for the review. And until next time, this was 15 minutes too long. Peace.